What is up, friends? As you know, the second season of Big Mouth recently dropped, and they did a ton of expanding on the lore of these emotion-based monsters. So today I want to break down every monster we've seen so far in the series, so spoilers ahead. In Season 1, we only met 3 monsters, Maurice, Connie, and Rick, who are all hormone monsters. They all represent hormonal emotions that come with going through puberty, and act as sort of a hormonal conscience for the kids in the series. But in Season 2, we find out there are even more hormone monsters. We're introduced to Tyler pretty early on, and then when Nick, Andrew, and Jesse go to this monster world, we're introduced to a bunch more. They seem to be an entire race with their own personalities, but still all represent hormonal emotions. We learn a lot about Gavin, who seems to be an old school Wall Street-esque and very aggressive hormone monster. It also appears that not all hormone monsters are actively working with kids during puberty. After Tyler was fired, he's relegated to being Gavin's assistant, and we see Maurice flirting with the hormone monstress named Lorraine, who works in a cubicle in their office, but doesn't seem to have a job outside of that office. Both Gavin and Maurice's titles are senior administrators in the hormone division. I'm curious if we'll learn more about these roles moving forward. We also learn from this hormone monster in the elevator that he has a family, so hormone monsters do seem to have their own lives. Plus, when the gang first enters this other dimension, we can see other buildings behind them, implying an entire monster society. Season 2 also introduces us to the Shame Wizard, who, as his name suggests, exacerbates shameful feelings in the kids. We later learn that even though he's a necessary monster and emotion, the other monsters refuse to be friends with him because he makes them feel shitty too. His office is even buried down in the bowels of the puberty division, away from everyone else. So even though all of these emotion monsters have important roles in the human world, there is a hierarchy in the monster world. I'm really curious about this hippo looking monstress here. Her name is Grace, and the only thing that she expresses is that she likes her own ass.
Yeah, cause I didn't need you telling me it was gonna go straight to my hips. I like my ass, and you can kiss it.
It's not very much to go on, but maybe she's some sort of pride monstress, or some sort of self-love related feeling. Give me your thoughts below in the comments. During Connie's meeting about Jesse, we're introduced to a few new monsters: the D.N.Ape, the Intellect Sphinx, the Ambition Gremlin, and the Anxiety Armadillo. I think that all of these things are definitely aspects of Jesse's personality, but every human seems to have a primary monster who is working with them. An Intellect Sphinx might focus primarily on knowledge and intelligence if they're a primary monster. If she were Jesse's primary monster, she might push her to focus on her studies. The Ambition Gremlin would maybe push a human harder to achieve their goals, and if they're the primary monster, possibly even do that in a dishonest way. The Anxiety Armadillo might constantly stress about things out of their control and parrot those fears into the ears of their human. I'm curious about the D.N.Ape. What kind of things would he teach Jessie if he were her primary monster? I'm not really sure. I really hope we start to see more people with different types of monsters as their primaries, though. I would love to see someone interact with an Anxiety Armadillo. In this scene, Jessie chooses the Depression Kitty as her new primary, which doesn't really last very long. The Depression Kitty brings Jessie down to the Depression ward and locks her in a cell, and as we learned from Maurice, humans staying in the monster world too long will be developmentally stunted forever. The idea that the Depression Kitty wants to keep Jessie in the monster world might mean that her depression would willfully lead to stunted developmental growth. These are the only monsters we actually get any real details about, but we definitely see a lot of other types of monsters walking around in the human resources area of this monster dimension. In the Department of Puberty, we also see an elevator sign that lists the different divisions in the department. In this episode, we visit the gift shop, hormone division, and depression ward, but the sign also lists the genetic division, which takes up 11 different floors, and I assume is where the D.N.Ape works, and also the acne care floor. We did see Andrew get some pimples in Season 1, and he wasn't visited by any acne-centric monsters, but we haven't really seen anyone get full-blown acne in the show. It's possible that we'll see this explored in a future season as well. There are 2 other floors, the names of which are cut off halfway, but I think they might be the Hall of Boners and the Menstruation Division. It could also be the Infatuation Division, since it's listed as floor 69, but my money is on menstruation. The introductory shot of human resources also might reveal some more information about other types of monsters. There are 6 different departments of human resources: the Childhood Office, the Department of Puberty, the Center for Adulthood, Geriatrics, People Who Are 62, and the Bureau of the Dead. I think that these departments imply that different monsters take over as a human's #1 monster throughout their lives. If there's a childhood office, maybe there are childhood monsters helping to guide babies and toddlers into childhood. Having a center for adulthood could mean that some of the other monsters, such as the Intellect Sphinx or the Ambition Gremlin, may take over for adults after they complete puberty and become adults. This also means there are potentially different geriatric monsters for when somebody becomes older, and even monsters for after death. This kind of establishes the Big Mouth universe's concept of an afterlife, so I hope we learn more about that in future seasons, maybe through Duke Ellington. Oh, and then there's also this Winnebago for people who are 62 years old, and personally, I hope that this guitar-playing Bigfoot is the monster for people who are 62. But what do you guys think? Do you have a favorite monster in Big Mouth? And what other emotions would you like to see turned into monsters in Season 3? Let me know below in the comments. Thanks for tuning in to this Big Mouth breakdown. If you liked this video, please make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and check out some of my other cartoon analysis videos. Alright guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.
Johnny! Two cellos!